back. It has been a long period of non-stop showers and thunderstorms that we've been dealing with here. My dinner just got here, of course. And what I am looking at right now is the storm south of Hillsborough. And this one is, it's had this special weather statement with it. And the special weather statement notes that it is capable of producing penny-sized hail, probably some gusty winds with this one, but you're also probably seeing, and let me adjust this really quickly, I'm sorry. You're probably seeing this little tail here, and it has had that for the last few scans here that has kind of actually become more well-defined as we've gone forward. And some weak rotation has become more evident as well. And so it doesn't look particularly intense, but it is definitely there. So we will have to watch this storm very closely. We've been talking about how there's a low tornado risk, but we've also been talking about how there's not a zero risk. It's, we're looking at tornadoes being just as possible with these storms, as well, not as possible as what we've seen, southwest of here, and also the greater risk was winds and hail, but it's still there. So we'll keep an eye on that storm, but area wide here is just more of the same. It's more of the same showers and thunderstorms that we have seen throughout the day here. And, we were talking about 7, 8 o'clock getting more, possible severe weather here. And that's definitely what we're dealing with. So we are definitely looking at the higher probability now of a few severe storms. And this storm near Hillsborough, I would not be surprised if that is warned, at least severe warned here pretty soon. I mentioned the rotation that's there. It's not particularly intense at this point, so I'm not too terribly worried about it at the moment. Now, we'll see what that does as it continues to move northeastward. The thing is, too, the atmosphere is fairly well worked over at this point. We've had storms going on basically all day here. So, I'm not too confident that we have too much to deal with in terms of instability and very fertile air here for, severe weather. But, it's just, we gotta kind of wait and see what this is going to do. And I know people love to hear wait and see, but unfortunately that's kind of the stage we're in as we go through the period of the next the next few hours here. The good news is I don't think this is going to be a very late night. I think that we're going to be probably done with this stuff by, midnight maybe, midnight, 2 a.m. And I say, that's a late night, but I say it's not as late as it otherwise could be. And I apologize for you having to sit here and watch me eat, but I don't really have much of a choice here. I tried to get food earlier, and we got, delivery because I was stuck in the office, and wife is pretty, worn out because we got a kiddo that's not feeling well. So, got something delivered here, and then that kind of went awry. So it is what it is. And Jamie, I figured you were probably looking at some flooding issues. I'll tell you, I'm a little relieved you haven't started flooding before now. So, I think at this point that we've been fairly fortunate with the flooding at this point, that it hasn't been worse than it could have otherwise been. I want to see what the storm's going to do. Just west of west there is where we're looking at a possible rotation there. It doesn't look too doesn't look too intense at this point. Maybe some weak kind of a broad rotation there, but not anything that I'm immediately concerned about. Yeah, that looks even less organized. So not thinking that's really anything to pay too much attention to at this time. But I mean, the way that these storms have been going, it's just been nonstop. And part of that is that this little stationary front is just sitting here. So it is helping to ignite storms along with that stationary front that we've been paying attention to. The front that brought the storms last night decided to come in and just sit here. Let me just put this back into motion here. All right, so let me just make sure. Let's see. Now, of course, remember too, the flood warning is in effect until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. So, I mean, flooding will become an issue, especially now that this is becoming more widespread off to the southwest. That's going to come in, and we've already been very well saturated in our area. So, I will not be surprised at all if we start getting more flooding issues as we have more of this heavy rain coming in, especially more consistency with as widespread as this rain is now stretching from Ellis and Hill counties on down towards Gatesville. All right, so let's take a look at the hail probabilities here. Mostly Hill County at this time. So between West and Gulson there in McLennan County, that storm just northwest of West, south of Hillsboro, and then between Itasca and Blum. So just little areas of maybe some small hail. I'm not seeing anything that appears too alarming at this time. Also not seeing any major winds. But I will say that, it does look like we are dealing with storms that will, over the next hour or so, continue to intensify. I don't think that we will be able to get away from that necessarily, but the good news is that we're not in the crosshairs of the most intense part of this. All the storm chasers are down in the hill country right now. That's where the greater risk of severe weather is. That's where that enhanced risk is at this time. So that's kind of where we're dealing with more of the kind of the greater concern for larger hail, possibly a few tornadoes out that direction. Of course, there is no severe thunderstorm watch at this point. Let me see, where's the nearest watch right now? We have the flood watch, but that's it as far as our area. There is a flood advisory that includes parts of Ellis and Johnson counties. Really, Ellis, Johnson, Tarrant, and Dallas counties. So those areas are under a flood advisory at this time. But there's a tornado watch southwest of us. Again, that's going to be kind of where we have that higher risk of tornadoes and that kind of thing. And I'm trying to relatively quickly work through my dinner here so we can just kind of get through. Maybe I can finish this before we actually have warnings start going out. And, I thought about starting the stream. I thought about trying to eat this really fast and then starting the stream, but I knew that would almost certainly trigger a warning almost immediately. So, you gotta play the game right. See, let's get our reflectivity back on here. All right, let's see. Put this back into motion, and you can see that it's you can see that it's becoming much more widespread. The heavier rain's becoming more widespread there. Joelle, if you're interested in advertising with us, send an email to kevin@southmetroweather.com. Let me just put that here. Okay, there's that email. If you're interested in advertising with us, um, definitely send an email. I'd love to talk to you. And you say it's a coffee company. Plenty of product placement. I drink a lot of coffee, as you can imagine, especially this week. I've had several people ask me what's for dinner. It's a chimichanga from El Phoenix. Not sure why that's interesting, but hey. And you might or might not be able to hear the thunder. I know that this is not the usual green screen coverage, but after the just the repetition here, I made the decision to do a small kindness to myself and just, do this from the desk instead of trying to be standing in front of the green screen that much. So, yeah, I'm going to take it easy a little bit. Good news is hopefully you can see everything here. Hopefully you can see the radar. I mean, it's see, we need to know what to DoorDash the weatherman. Yeah, I know. And, somebody is asking what the weather looks like tomorrow. The good news is that tomorrow actually looks easier than it did. I think tomorrow afternoon we may have some scattered showers and thunderstorms, but not looking at like a severe weather situation. Doesn't look very likely here. The good news is that we are not expecting the early morning storms that I kind of thought was possible. So, yeah. So tomorrow, just kind of a low chance of storms as we go forward into the next few days. Tuesday and Wednesday, pretty low storm chances, and then Thursday we have a disturbance coming through, may bring a chance of storms, and then we're good Friday, Saturday late in the day. I think is what the discussion was. Maybe a complex coming out of Oklahoma. Those are kind of hard to call, though, so that's kind of up in the air. So that's a little unsure. I'm not too sure what to... I don't want to go too much into Saturday's forecast because I think that may change some. Let me take a look at something here. Chris Andrade, did you cover about maybe having... Yes, we've had... Chris, we've been asked about that, and I've not had an opportunity to work on getting that back up. Yeah, I am going to... I'm going to continue to work on that. I really, what it comes down to is I was using a MacBook at one point to host the radar only live stream, and I don't want to use that MacBook for that purpose anymore. So what I'll say is, we're working on that. That's going to be kind of a summer research and developing thing. Can't forget Dr. Pepper and coffee. Yeah, no, trust me, the Dr. Pepper, it's on board. Joshua asking, is this the line moving through now that you were talking about earlier? Yeah, I mean, this is essentially it. And it's not really one line. I mean, if you can see here, this stretches all the way, into the hill country here. There's another line back towards Brownwood. So this isn't really a line so much as just kind of a cluster of storms that's moving through with a disturbance that's making its way through. So that's what we're seeing right now. I just want a bite. I don't want the whole thing. Speaking of speaking of eating, earlier Terry and I were watching a video clip of this guy. It was a traffic guy at a news station, and I guess he drives around and reports on conditions. And it was a kind of a snowy day, and Jamie. Yes, I'll zoom in. I was trying to show. Somebody asked about where the rest of the storms were coming through, so I was trying to show him that. But he was driving through the driving through this snowstorm, trying to show the different road conditions, and they go to him. They take him live in the car, and he's in the McDonald's line, and he's sitting there going, "Can I get a fish sandwich?" It's really funny. So if you have a chance, I forget the name of the guy, but if you look up, traffic guy fish sandwich or something like that, I think you'll find it. But as I was saying earlier, this isn't one line. We have kind of a few clusters here. Let me kind of zoom. Let me go this way. So Stephenville down to Brownwood, there's kind of another line there. That may become more of a solid line, I'm not sure. But there's going to be at least one or two waves of stronger storms that come through. This hasn't become severe at this point. That storm near Hillsborough, I was almost sure was going to have a warning with it. It looks like that kind of weakened just a little bit. So that's a blessing there for sure. Let's see. May see. Hail is possible in Ellis County. It's not happening now, but it's possible as these storms come through. That's kind of one of the risks that we have with the chance of severe weather. And Ryan, yes, I am tired of the rain too. Trust me, I get it. Yeah, no, it's I've had my fill, I think, of storms for a little while. I'll be happy to get a couple of days of a break. So looking at the Venus area, there's nothing headed to Venus right now, but I'm not quite going to kind of rule it out at this point. I think we may still have some storms that'll go through the Venus area. I'm not certain of that. But again, as we look to the west, there's some storms headed towards Stephenville right now that could move through Venus. So I don't think you're out of the woods at this point, but there's not anything headed that way right this second. We kind of have to wait and see what some of these other area storms are going to do here. But as I say, the good news is that it looks like once we get rid of this stuff around midnight or so, that storm chances tomorrow are much lower. So I can't discount storms tomorrow, but I think tomorrow, if we see anything, it'll be few and far between. So that's the nice part. We should get a break at least from all the widespread rain. So let's take a broader look here. I know that people get upset when I zoom out, but I just want to show you kind of the broader context of what we're dealing with here. So we have all of this going on from the Red River all the way down to the hill country here. And obviously the stronger storms down in the hill country. I mean, you can see, Kerrville, Fredericksburg, Llano, Killeen, all getting hit pretty hard. And then in our area, it's more widespread, but we don't have severe weather at this point. So, I mean, we're not out of the woods at this point. Could still see some severe weather tonight, but we're not seeing it at the moment right now. So that's kind of where things stand at the moment. I don't want you to look at the weather right now and judge the next 3-4 hours on what's happening this second. And there are a lot of people that do that and say, hey, I don't see anything severe, we're done, and it's like, I think there was somebody yesterday that actually said we weren't going to get anything, and that was not a correct assessment there. And let's see here. So a new special weather statement coming out for the Hamilton area. Or is that the one that's already up there? Okay, so that's the one that's already there. So that's this line from Comanche down towards Richland Springs, really near Stephenville, down to Comanche, and south from there. So that is yet another special weather statement, and those could become severe as that continues to move eastward. And let's see, somebody asked, when will it stop raining in Waxahachie? Maypearl? Weatherbug keeps lying. Well, Weatherbug is a computer trying to tell you what the weather's going to do, and weathers are not near as good as people at telling what the weather is going to do. But unfortunately, I mean, we have more storm chances going through the evening. I can't give you a hard cutoff time. There's no hard stop that I can schedule for you as far as when the storms are going to quit. Now, I think you'll get a break in Hillsborough after the next 45 minutes to an hour there, depending on, if all of this kind of fills in. But I mean, for the Maypearl area, back towards Grandview, Itasca, Hillsborough, obviously lots of heavy rain there, but there's not much immediately behind it. There is farther to the southwest, but you may get a break here shortly. And Brandon Young said, it hails in Hatchie anytime it rains, so just assume there will be hail. I mean, it doesn't hail every time it rains. I mean, it seems like it has this season, but not quite. But I get it. It definitely feels like it has. I had someone asking me the other day, that we've had more hail this season, and I feel like that might be true. But I mean, I don't have anything to immediately point at. I don't have any data or anything like that to use to back up that conclusion. But the perception, and I talk about this all the time, perception and data are often, or perception and reality are often not in harmony with each other with weather events. But I mean, we've had a fair amount of severe weather and, including hail, but I know that when we started with that March 8th storm, early March 8th, all that hail, people were pretty, tired of it by that point. So, an inch and a tenth of rain since 7 a.m. in Maypearl area. Yeah, so I mean, I've got on the day, since midnight, I have an inch and a half here at the studio. Just hit an inch and a half just now. And we've definitely had, the forecast that I put out was 2 to 4 inches of rain kind of in this period. So Sounds like we may get pretty close to that. May even be on the lower end of that, at least in my area. I know some areas have gotten more rain, so won't be surprised if there's some closer to 3 to 4 inches out there. But rain accumulations will be impressive here. And the thing is, I mean, we're not in drought conditions at this point, so this only helps us. And this will help us go into the summer at a pretty good position. So, I mean, even though we're tired of the rain, I think we'll be thankful that we had it. So on you, so 2.51 is that since midnight, or what is that a measure of? What's the timeline on that? So maybe put this back in. No, this one. There we go. Put that in motion there. Let's see. J Money on YouTube. Any rain in Ennis overnight, early morning. I mean, what you're seeing right now is what's headed your way. So this storm out of Hillsborough, out of Hill County, I imagine that will be making its way towards the Ennis area later this evening. So in the next, hour or so maybe. So yeah, you've got more rain headed that way. So Stephen Lucas showing just under 1.25 inches since midnight in Italy. So yeah, I mean, I think we're right around probably 1 to 3 inches, but yeah, so 2.5 inches in Maypearl, 1.5 inches here. Italy reporting 1.25 inches. So it's gonna be 1 to 3 inches. I think is about where we're at in terms of our rainfall amounts, at least in Ellis County. Maybe more in Hillsborough. I mean, Hillsborough's had a fair amount of heavy rain going on just over and over and over again. So that's why we had that flood watch that goes into effect. Is in effect until 7 a.m. tomorrow. Realistically, we shouldn't need that watch after midnight here, hopefully. But again, we will see what it does. So Perry Giles, just over 1.5 inches in Waxahachie. Gary Giles, rather, sorry. If we look at the winds here, oh, that's interesting. So check this out. So we have winds that are increasing. You can see this boundary here. So winds increasing, moving across the area is that. Let me just check something here. I'm not sure if that's outflow. I don't think that's the front. Let me see. So you can see these winds that are increasing, and I don't think this is the front. I think it's just these gusty storms starting to pick up steam here. Let's see. Dot Chance trying to fly into DFW from New Orleans. Flight delayed. How's it looking? I mean, I can show you radar, and it's not happening there in DFW. at the big airport, but it's certainly nearby there. So it's still fairly active out there. And no, Dr. Pepper is not paying for product placement, but I wouldn't mind if they did. So I'm looking at the map here. I'm not seeing. Oh man, don't do that. Had the power flicker here. Don't do that. We don't need that today. We've had enough going on. Doesn't even sound like that lightning was that close. Let's see. See if that lightning indicator pops up here. Not seeing anything there. It may take a minute. So, how big is the hail in Hillsborough? So, I mean, the Hillsborough area, if we look here, I mean, in Hillsborough proper, I don't know that there's hail going on at all. I mean, if there is, it's going to be pretty small pea size. South of Bynum and near Carl's Corner, we could have some hail going on, maybe some small, pea to dime size hail. Not really expecting much. Sitting in Hubbard, how high of wind so I need to expect in Hubbard? Let's see. So, I mean, we're looking at winds. What are we looking at? Probably 30 miles an hour? Yeah. So about 25 to 30 miles an hour right now in that storm. But we'll see if that continues to increase here. So we'll see what that does. That's going to continue to move on to the east. So moving into Italy, Milford, into, Bynum, Malone, Penelope, Hubbard, those areas are going to start getting those gusty winds, those stronger winds. And they're, like I say, we're looking at about, 25, 30 mile per hour winds at this point, but those could continue to intensify. Courtney in Carl's Corner, or near Carl's Corner, tiny pea-sized hail. So, yeah, that's about right. I mean, I'm not looking at anything particularly intense there. So, I mean, really the only county in our area that doesn't have much going on is Johnson County. Johnson County is largely kind of left alone at this point. Hill County obviously getting kind of the brunt of this right now. Navarro County, the heaviest storm there is going to be right there on Richland Chambers Reservoir, moving right into Eureka. I want to look at the hail there. So I would say there's probably some pea-sized hail there in the Eureka area, but that's probably about it. That's probably going to be the majority of it here. So I think for the most part, you're probably okay. Yeah, Courtney, so, lots of wind near Carl's Corner. Well, that's what we're seeing with this area of gusty winds right here, stretching from Italy to Milford to Abbott. So, yeah, again, about 25 to 30 miles per hour. And if you hear a high pitch whistle in the background, that's just the kettle. So. Let me see. Checking something on my phone here. Okay. Just getting a report from down in Bynum. Okay. Yeah, so Bynum saying the same thing, gusty winds there, very heavy rain, lots of lightning and thunder, that kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, this is going to be just a return of just some very noisy, loud, heavy storms. We don't have any severe weather at this time. And our hail probabilities, I mean, again, winds are the primary kind of concern right now, but the hail's going to be more sporadic. Got the report of some isolated, some very small hail near Carl's Corner, probably some P to dime size hail near Bynum, not Bonham, Bynum. And then right into the Eureka area moving towards Richland Chambers Reservoir. We've got probably some small hail there. So, Amanda, you said there's random strong wind gusts, otherwise oddly silenced in Abbott, thunder in the distance. Yeah, so I mean, in the Abbott area, you've got those gusty winds there. And then, I mean, the rain is, depending on where in Abbott you are, if you're just south of the main, kind of the heart of town, you're probably not getting a whole lot. But yeah, you're not getting the brunt of it right now, but there are some gusty winds for sure in that area. Yeah, this is a pretty heavy storm in Hill County. Gusty winds, lots of heavy rain. It's not severe at this point, but it is going to be a little bit of a monsoon going on there. So just kind of keep that in mind for Hill County here. Eastern Hill County, southern Ellis County, moving towards western Navarro County. Let me check. I'm probably getting messages here. Heather saying you've had 2 house fires from lightning in our neighborhood in Midlothian within the last 24 hours. I believe it. I definitely believe that. Just looking back at some messages here. So, yeah, loud near Scarborough for sure. Let's see here. Megan, surprised to see this storm didn't have a severe warning or at least a special weather statement. So, Megan, where are you reporting from? If you said in Hillsborough. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, they may be working on one now because those winds, again, are picking up. I mean, they're staying right around 20 to 30 miles per hour, and that's not particularly intense there. But it's definitely worth paying attention to, especially south of Milford, north of West. Austin Styron, I honestly couldn't tell you. There's kind of a constant rumble of thunder going on right now, and also constant noise from kids. So either of those are entirely possible in this house right now. So that's just kind of the reality we're living in right now. Now, the shrieking is definitely the children. If you're hearing that. So, fortunately, it's playful, happy shrieking, if such a thing exists. All right. Yeah, just a constant constant rumble of thunder here. So that's just, if you hear that in the background, that's probably the thunder. There's enough lightning around here that it's just constant. Chris on Friday, do we need to figure out what kind of funds we need to get Kevin a generator? Well, the nice thing is, I've got battery backups. So even if power goes out, we're able to stay on the air. So the cool thing is normally at this house, we don't have extended, we don't normally have extended power outages. We have where they it'll kind of flicker and it'll go out just long enough to knock out the computer power, and then it comes back, right? And it takes the computer and the internet forever to turn back on, especially the internet. This computer boots pretty fast, but the internet, I mean, it takes forever to stabilize and get connected. So, that's the main annoyance. But, for the most part, we've been in a pretty good position. So Cami, Bryce, no, not really any tornado concerns right now. I'm not seeing any rotation at this point. We were looking at a storm south of Hillsborough earlier that looked like it was trying to generate some rotation, but it just couldn't hold on. So it couldn't really maintain it. So I'm not terribly concerned about it at this point. So I think we're good to go. I think we're okay. I'm not really expecting much in terms of rotation area wide. So. And I apologize. I know that I'm zoomed out a little bit, but I'm trying to give as much context as I can because there are more storms trying to move our way from the southwest. So that's just kind of, where things stand here. And I'm trying to make sure that folks see that because a lot of people are asking, well, what's next? Well, you can see it. Moving into Bosque County right now, there are a couple of storms there and that sort of thing. Martha, when is it all going to end? Well, I mean, hopefully not too soon. I got stuff to do. I'm kidding. Dark humor. Martha, we should be, dry by 1, 2 a.m., I think. It may be after midnight before all of this finally scoots out and gets out of here. But it should be out of here at I think a decent point. So, yeah, I think we'll be in a good position to get this out of here before it's too terribly late. At least that's my hope. Tori, not really looking at a tornado threat right now. For the Forreston area, really just kind of what you've got going on right now. And in Forreston, you're probably... Let me look here. Yeah, Forreston may be looking at some gusty winds right now. Heavy rain, lightning, thunder, that kind of thing. That's kind of what we're looking at in terms of for the Forreston area. So really more of the same. And then it's interesting that Lumpkins comes up in Bell Branch, but Forreston doesn't. There it is. I knew it was there somewhere. I grew up in Forreston, so I know the area well. Oh, I kind of grew up there. My best friend lived there. But I mean, again, you can see where the red is, where those brighter colors, the bright red, bright green, those are going to be the gustier winds, and so that is where you're going to see those 20 to 30 mile per hour winds. But the good news is it's kind of been limited to that point. It hasn't really gotten worse than that. Let's see. Johnny in Waxahachie and received a flash flood warning at 6:54 on your Echo. Did I miss something? I don't see anything coming in. I don't see any flash flood warnings for the Ellis County area. Now, there's a flood advisory that came in earlier, but I haven't seen... There's that severe thunderstorm warning down to the south. I haven't seen a flash flood warning for Ellis County. So if your Echo is telling you that there's a flash flood warning, Alexa might want to figure out where she's at, because it's not there. The closest flash flood warning is up in just south of Decatur. So your Alexa might want to figure out her spot where she's at. 3 a.m. storm blew your son's dirt bike into a truck about 10 feet away. Yes, I mean, the winds were pretty gnarly in that early morning storm. I know there were a few tree limbs down, a few trees down, and that kind of thing, but Yeah, so definitely looking. I mean, we had plenty of wind overnight. Area flood advisory was issued earlier. Yeah, that's the only thing that we've had in our area. We have the flood watch that goes until 7 a.m. And then let's see here. So we've been updated here a little bit. Let me shift gears and show you this. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Let me take the warnings off and show you if it's going to update here. So this is where we had the severe weather threat here. We had the slight risk. I apologize for all the noise. It's a very apparently upset 3-year-old. So we have been updated here, and the good news is that the severe weather threat has adjusted to where the slight risk, which you can see denoted in the yellow, has been pushed farther south. So we'll see if that updates here. Sometimes it takes a little while on this map, but maybe I can pull this up in another spot. Let me see. No, it doesn't want to. Let me see. Let me see if I can get this to. Yeah, I just don't know if that's gonna. We'll have to wait for this map to adjust, but it does bring the slight risk south, farther south, basically from Corsicana and Hillsborough southward. But we'll just go back to what's going on now. Let's see. Let's see. Lord Prager, Bloger had pea-sized hail at Scarborough. Yeah, so I was talking to Crispin earlier about that. We were communicating as things were moving through. Stephanie Olson saying you got a tornado warning. Where are you? It's not in this area, not where we usually cover. Pouring down rain in Hillsborough. Yeah, it's Hillsborough is definitely, the Hill County area is definitely getting plenty of it. But Stephanie, Stephanie was talking about a tornado warning, but I'm not sure what she's referring to there. The only tornado warning is down near San Marcos. Yeah, no tornado warnings in this area, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure if she's east of us from referring to last night. Not sure what's going on there. But we don't have any severe weather warnings in our area right now. We do have gusty winds, lightning and thunder, heavy rain, plenty of that to go around. But no severe warnings at this point. So we've had a couple of storms. We had the severe warning earlier in northern Johnson County up into Tarrant and Dallas counties. And it's, it was not really a great warning because, and it's not the National Weather Service's fault, but the way the storms were going, by the time you got the warning issued, it's already weakened below severe limits. I mean, these things were intensifying real quickly and then weakening, then intensifying and weakening, just back and forth and back and forth. So yeah, it's been kind of one of those days where things are just kind of real back and forth. So the heaviest of this, we'll take a look at these winds again. So moving into eastern, far eastern Hill County, western Navarro County right now is these winds. And we've been looking at this, still sitting around 20 to 30 miles per hour. Yeah, so 20 to 30 miles per hour is probably the highest. Those winds have probably come down a little bit. But that's what we're seeing, is just, gusty winds moving through. Bravo on YouTube, this is the worst Memorial Day weekend that I can remember weather-wise. I'm sure there's been worse. We're getting a lot of rain, lightning, and thunder and that kind of thing, but I'm fairly certain there's got to be worse situations out there in the past. John Miller, is there anything we're expecting from the storms moving east from Erath County? Well, there's not much there. It's just kind of a thin line of rain and thunder in Erath County right now. So there's not really much to say about those. Darlene Childs, how in the world are you up after last night, all night? I'm exhausted. Yeah, no, I trust me. I got some sleep this morning and been, up and at 'em today. I'm plenty exhausted. There is no doubt about that. And I've got to be up in the morning. I work with Waxahachie Care. I do. If you ever see me at HEB on a Tuesday morning and I'm pushing carts and things around, that's because I pick up donations for Waxahachie Care. You'll see I've had a few people look at me like, what in the world is he doing? I volunteer with Waxahachie Care. I'm also a member of the board of directors there, but each Tuesday morning I, pick up and deliver donations for them. So if you ever see me at HEB and I look like I'm pushing stuff around, that's what I'm doing. I don't work there. But I've had a few of you kind of go, what is he doing at HEB pushing those carts around? So that's what that is. Probably have my son with me. He loves doing that during the summer. So got that in the morning, got the 7-day forecast put out in the morning. But the good news is tomorrow looks mostly storm free. I think we may still have a few in the afternoon, but a lot less than today. Jill, you're asking about the Bristol area. It's, we have the showers and storms that are moving through the area right now. And then as we go forward through the rest of the evening, I think we could see some more storms before all of this finally clears out around, I would say, midnight or so. And I am ready to be storm free because I got stuff I want to read. Like I just started. I'm a nerd, you guys know that, and I just started a Captain America story that's really, really good. Really a pretty heartfelt story there. I'm sure that's before we get into all the, fighting and stuff. But yes, I'm a nerd, and I enjoy a little bit of nerdy literature here and there. So, it is what it is. The winds are picking up in Bardwell. Yeah, that's what we're seeing there. So let me pull up the velocity again. And the bulk of the winds are south of you. So from Blooming Grove to Dawson and Hubbard, that's where the strongest winds are at this point. So continuing to move on to the east and go on from there. And things are going to start calming down in Hillsborough fairly soon. That's the good thing, is things will start to relax a little bit in the Hillsborough area. If we look at the hail cores, there might be some small hail near Mount Calm, but I think for the most part that's going to be it. Maybe some pea-sized hail near Hubbard, but that should be about it. I think we're pretty much done at that point. There's going to be a lot of lightning on the backside, really through all of this. So once the storm moves through, you'll want to give it a little bit of time to kind of make its way out of here before you go outside and resume outdoor activities. Because remember, lightning can strike 30 miles outside of a storm, and there's quite a bit of lightning in all of this activity. So give it some time, give it time to kind of clear out, and then you'll be good to go from there. As I mentioned earlier, the half of the area at least has been downgraded in terms of that severe weather threat. We were talking about a threat of severe weather up to the point of a slight risk for really all of our area for today. That has been adjusted here. Excuse me. That has been adjusted here to the slight risk is from Hillsborough and Corsicana southward. North of that, just a marginal risk. So our severe weather threat is tapering off in our area here. So that is the good news. And I think that'll continue to taper off as we go through the evening. Yeah, I would like to get. I like to get some sleep. Yeah, no, I hear you. I think we all would love to get plenty of sleep tonight instead of having to deal with these storms. I can definitely agree with that. Okay, so there's a severe thunderstorm watch just south of us. So let's put that on the board here. Actually, we'll pull up the tornado watch too, just for reference. So I'm going to zoom out and show most of the state here. Here's the tornado watch down in the hill country here, all the way from Uvalde up to over to San Antonio, on up towards Brownwood. And then there is a new severe thunderstorm watch that will pop up here just south of our area. So that includes, it's just south of Waco, so it includes Temple, Killeen, Marlin, Mejia, on down to Cameron and over, looks like it doesn't quite include Rocket, but Centerville and Franklin. So just a small severe thunderstorm warning there. Looks like that's probably for the storm stretching from Killeen down towards New Braunfels. So a severe thunderstorm watch was issued, but as we talked about earlier, the brunt of the severe weather is staying south of us. So that's the good news. Looks like that is going to focus south of us. We still have those gusty winds from, far eastern Hill County moving into western Navarro County. So just keep in mind, 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts are a possible. That is moving towards the Corsicana area here. So it's not as intense as a severe thunderstorm would be. You have to get essentially twice that to get to severe weather level. But I mean, it's still going to be, plenty of lightning, thunder, gusty winds, heavy rain in that too. So I think really the hail threat isn't very significant at this point. I think the primary threat is going to be the threat of flooding here over the next several minutes. So in Ellis County, in Navarro County, in Hill County, fortunately Hill County is starting to kind of calm down here. But as we go through the night, if we get any more heavy rainfall or any more rainfall at all, I think that's going to lead to some flood issues, especially if you happen to be in one of those places where you get all of the runoff. So if you tend to get all the runoff in your area, there's going to be quite a bit of it coming. So if you are one of those areas, you do want to consider the possibility of taking some precautions against flooding, because I think that's going to be a very distinct possibility. Okay, yeah, not seeing much more new here. Where was the severe watch issued for? Not popping up on Omega for me. So The severe thunderstorm watch, they take a little while to pop up on radar Omega, so it'll be there. It's not quite there yet, but sometimes they take a little while. But we'll see that. I mean, it's going to be south of Waco. South of Waco, it's from Marlin to Groesbeck and Mejia over to Fairfield, and I think, does that include? I think, let's see, include Palestine. It does not. So. It doesn't even include Fairfield. Okay, so Killeen Temple over to Marlin and Groesbeck, and then Cameron, Franklin, and Centerville. So this area right in here, that's where, really down in this area, that's where the severe thunderstorm warning, or watch rather, was issued. Sorry, folks. I'm answering a text message here. Getting some good rain and winds over by Wolf Creek in Navarro County right now. Yeah, so I mean, Navarro County is getting the brunt of it right now. The heaviest rain, the gusty winds moving into western Navarro County now. It's not severe, but it's going to be loud. Going to be lots of heavy rain. Going to be some gusty winds there, 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts for that area. And I mean, if that's the worst that we have to put up with, then hey. Not the worst thing in the world. But that is what we are seeing. That is moving into now central Navarro County. It's been moving through. There's that watch. So there's that severe thunderstorm watch. It's a fairly small one, but just accounting for some of those stronger storms south of our area. So now that we have that visually, I will take that off of there. The lightning caught a house on fire down the street from our house. Yeah, so that's going to be over in Mansfield. So yeah, Midlothian, Mansfield, lots of lightning-induced fires. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of lightning over the past several days, and we've had more than our fair share of storms this spring. But the thing is, summer's right around the corner, and we will be begging for rain by the time we get to the end of August. So. I mean, I will enjoy the break. I will enjoy, not having as many storms to cover, but at the same time, I'll probably be hoping for something. We get into the summer, and then before we know it, it's fall. It's getting close to the holidays. So the year goes quick, but the good news is that we are not in any drought conditions at the moment. And so, I mean, we're going to be in a pretty good shape going into June, which is not a bad thing at all. Now, granted, it doesn't take much at all. It doesn't take very long at all for us to be in drought conditions. It seems like in Texas, if you don't get a constant rain, suddenly you're in a drought. So I'm sure it won't take long before we're chattering about, burn bans and all those kind of things. Yeah, lightning show crazy in Avalon. So, yeah, I mean, if you're on the backside of this storm looking back at it, there's going to be tons of lightning to watch. Tons of that to watch out of these storms. So just make sure that you give them some space because, like I said, lightning can strike 30 miles outside of a storm. If you're close enough to hear it, you're close enough to be affected by it. So you have to be very, very careful. And I know there's pictures circulating of a hailstone near Afton, Texas. It was about 6 inches. I think they found out it was like 5.9 inches or something, but that is absurd. Absolutely absurd. It's about the size of a baseball cap. Basically the crown of a baseball cap. That's just outrageous. That shouldn't even be legal. Golly. Just wild. Fortunately, not here, but definitely in Afton, Texas. But here's those winds that we've been talking about, and they are starting to diminish here. So that's the good news. Winds are picking up a little bit in northern Limestone County, but western Navarro County, those winds, far southeastern Hill County, those winds are starting to diminish a bit. So mostly a rain event at this point. Rain, plenty of lightning and thunder, that kind of thing. But we do have a little bit of a line developing here that's going to continue on. And then behind it, near Hamilton, looks like we're developing a little bit of a cold pool there with that rain. And so there is rain to be had behind all of this. But if you look behind all of that, let's get the broader view here. So you can kind of see two lines here. And really the models did a pretty good job of showing that. So this one's obviously moving kind of southeast. This one's going to be moving more, due east. And then you can see that out here there's nothing. So we will get to a point tonight where we have nothing else going on, and we will dry out and we'll have everything, relaxed. Let's look at the, and I'm really not looking at any kind of hail probabilities here. So, not really concerned about hail across our area. Maybe some small pea-sized hail south of Hubbard near Mount Calm, but that's probably going to be about it. That's, maybe some near Richland Chambers Reservoir, but yeah, not really seeing much of a hail situation. Just some gusty winds moving into the Corsicana area with some heavy rain, lots of lightning, especially there near Hubbard. Seems like that's kind of a focus area. So as we broaden this out, and don't worry, we will zoom back in. But as we broaden this out here, you can see that there is a definite complex coming together, a line coming together that will proceed eastward, and that is where the severe weather threat continues to be a little higher, south of Hillsborough, south of Corsicana. That's where that severe thunderstorm watch was issued as well, south of those areas, from Marlin to Groesbeck and Mejia. So those areas will see the storms. They'll pretty much be moving out of our area tonight. I say the heaviest of this is probably going to be done by, I would even say as quickly as it's moving, I would say by 9 or 10 o'clock. So the good news is it looks like we will be done relatively early at this point, I think. So it should be good to go. That's not what I want. There we go. Why did that stop? There we go. So yeah, not a whole lot to talk about here. The good news is we kind of dodged the severe weather. That's setting up more south of us. If you look here, you can see Limestone County. Those winds are starting to pick up. So that's where we're going to see that line really begin to pick up. Yeah, you can see it. Look at that. Look at the way it zippers down south. That's probably going to be an increasing, and it's right where that severe thunderstorm watch is. They drew that thing wonderfully. We're about to see an increasing gust front there south of Navarro County. So they did a great job there. That line is going to get nastier and nastier. A structure fire in Maypearl, possibly from lightning. Yeah, there's been plenty of that. Plenty of reports of that for sure. So we don't have any severe weather warnings at this time. The flood watch continues until 7 a.m. We probably won't need all of that time. Now, I say that. The reason that sometimes those watches go later than you would think that they would is because you have to deal with runoff. So there are some places, and I'm going to get to this in just a second. There are some places where, the flooding happens because there's runoff. And I know one person in this chat specifically who that happens to. All of it runs off into that area, and it's going to take a while. So the actual flood may be kind of a delayed effect of these storms, depending on when that runoff gets to you. So that's just kind of the reasoning behind sometimes those watches going forward. Now, that said, the flood watch has been updated to cancel Collin, Dallas, Delta, Denton, Hopkins, Hunt, Kaufman, Rains, Rockwall, Tarrant, and Van Sant counties. Continuing, though, includes Ellis, Hill, Johnson, and Navarro County. So our area is still in that flood watch, but they have canceled the Metroplex and north and east, basically. Trey Montgomery, you're asking about Temple. I mean, Temple's a little farther. That's a little south of us. That's not quite our area. But you do have severe storms headed that way. So you'll want to be paying attention in the Temple area. Somebody asking, is Midlothian done with storms? For the most part. I mean, there's a few little things popping up there, so I would hate to presume that you're done. Looks like maybe a little storm just north of there, but for the most part, Midlothian, I think, you're done with the bulk of the storms. I'll say it that way. Let's see. Yeah, not really seeing any other updates on this stuff, so. Josh, got two more people that never heard of you follow you for now for all the weather. Well, I appreciate that, Josh. Always appreciate new followers of the brand. You know, we're almost to 50,000. Let me get an actual number on that. Let's see. Yeah, we stand at 48,841. So we're pretty close to 50K, which would be cool to hit by the end of the year. Maybe even by the end of, be cool to hit that by the holidays maybe. But yeah, that would be cool if we could we can actually meet that goal here. So that would be cool. But yeah, I always appreciate bringing in new followers. I greatly appreciate that. Let me see here. Trying to get some emails knocked out here. Because I know the very second that I am done with this live stream, the kids are going to be, looking for me. So I better get that stuff done when I can. I want to take a look at the winds again. And like I said here, you can see where those winds are picking up, right where that severe thunderstorm watch is. So you can definitely see that extending southward. You see that just zippering down the line, and then the winds are decreasing there in Navarro County. So heavy rain, lightning, and thunder there in Navarro County, but the winds are diminishing there. Brenda Harrison, glad you explained about the runoff as to why flood watch until 7 a.m. So a couple of things. We also were looking at the possibility of more storms overnight, early morning, and it doesn't look like we're going to deal with that now. So I think that's part of that calculus. They've already canceled some counties. So I think part of it was that we were expecting maybe another round, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. But yes, I mean, they usually do extend those things out quite a bit to allow for the runoff, to that delayed impact. They allow that some time to happen. And you can see new development now up in Dallas. Not anything intense up there, but some new little showers and thunderstorms developing. But I mean, you can see that Stephenville's starting to clear out now. That little cold pool has kind of developed near Hamilton, so that's bringing some rain in that area. But ultimately, this is going to get driven out here over the next few hours. So that's the good news there. And thank you, Melanie, for the Cash App donation. Greatly appreciated there. Let me see, how can I... And a great... Let's see. See if I can show this. Great picture of the sunset from Midlothian. So, hang on. So that's from Midlothian. Mandy, you sent that in, so they're getting clearing skies in Midlothian already. Is that from right now? Or I guess earlier tonight. But that is a great picture, sent in by Melanie Hersey. Okay, let's see. Waxahachie ISD choir is near Austin because of UIL competition. Weather a little more rough down there. Yeah, so if they're in the Austin area, weather conditions definitely intensified there. Robert Moore, so Venus is looking pretty good for the night. Yeah, I mean, Venus, there's not a whole lot headed that way. Maybe a little bit more rain, but not any kind of heavy stuff. The heaviest storms are well south of there. So, yeah, the skies are already clearing in Midlothian. That's wild. If we, let's see. Nope, that's not going to help. That didn't help either. Can't really, I mean, it's too dark to really see visible satellites, so. But that's, yeah, that's crazy. So a question about Forney. I mean, right now in Kaufman County, there's not a whole lot headed that way. There's some scattered showers and thunderstorms in Dallas County that are moving eastward, but not anything too terribly intense at this point. The heaviest activity is moving through Navarro County right now. And even that is going to be ready to, I mean, if you're in far western Navarro County here, you're in the Frost, Blooming Grove area, Mertens, you're getting ready to kind of start clearing out. So that's the good news. We will clear out of all this rain. It will come to an end, I promise, later on tonight. So that's going to be the good sign, is that things will relax. We look at the velocity. We've still got some gusty winds there in southern Navarro County. And as we talked about, we've got that increasing winds, the increasing gust front there west of Wortham, Mejia, and Groesbeck. Corsicana checking in, it's coming down. Yeah, Corsicana has lots of heavy rain right now. Lots of heavy rain, lightning, and thunder, and some gusty winds down to your southwest. Ashley, you're asking about Rice. It's coming down there too. But Rice will be calming down here over the next, 20, 30 minutes or so. Steve Colburn asking about where can we get gopher wood. No, I don't know where you'd get any. In fact, I don't really even know anything about gopher wood, but I hear it floats well, so that might be necessary. Kim Hefner, thank God I have to drive home to Ennis from Ennis at 10. Yeah, so I think by that point, from Ennis to Blooming Grove at 10 o'clock, I would imagine that's probably not going to be too big a deal. Might be some rain at that point, but I don't think you're going to be dealing with anything like what's going on right now. In fact, that route is already starting to clear out here. So between Ennis and Blooming Grove, the heavier rain has started to move out of there. So that's the good news. So the severe thunderstorm watch we talked about was south of Corsicana, from Groesbeck to Mejia, Teague, Fairfield, over to Marlin. And so essentially just, east of, well, it includes Killeen and Temple, and then again up to Marlin, Groesbeck, Mejia, Teague, and Fairfield, and then over to, I think it includes Cameron, Franklin, and Centerville. So it's south of us, and that's where we're seeing one of those two lines. So again, south of us, you have one line developing here and one down here that's already ongoing. So those are the two lines. The one up in Navarro County, not a whole lot going on there. Looks like we could be looking at some small hail between Richland and Angus there. Headed towards the Eureka area, but I'm not seeing anything too terribly intense other than that. And I think any hail will probably be fairly short-lived. Midlothian Venus area sky is still growling at us. Yeah, you're going to still be hearing a lot of thunder from these storms. That's going to take a while to kind of work itself out and get out of here, get out of earshot. It's going to take quite some time, I think, to get to where you're not hearing that anymore. Oh, my watch says its battery is low. Well, my battery is low, so I guess it makes sense. Oh man, I'm surprised my technology hasn't rebelled against me at this point. Hopefully, knock on wood, that's not getting ready to happen. But it's been a wild few days here, and it's been a wild season. So I'd be lying if I didn't say I wasn't ready for a break. My wife recently did one of those rage rooms over in Mansfield. One of those is sounding pretty good right now. Just blow off some energy and steam. That sounds. She said she beat up a printer, and I don't know how many times I've wanted to do that. To printers that I've tried using, but I could take out some frustration on a printer here. Are we good for the night in Hillsborough? It's hard for me to see where we are on the map. Yeah, Hillsborough. Hillsborough is wrong button. Hillsborough is right there. That's Hillsborough, right next to Whitney. So, but yeah, I mean, you're good to go in Hillsboro. You might have some more rain and some thunder going on, but the heaviest activity has moved east of you. So I'm not expecting anything severe, anything particularly intense there in the Hillsboro area. So yeah, Hillsboro, I think you're good for the night. Let me check some messages here. Yeah, so everything is pretty well kind of calmed down across the area. Of course, Corsicana, like I said, you still have some heavy rain, gusty winds, that kind of thing, but nothing severe in that area right now. Everything severe is likely going to be south of Corsicana, south in Navarro County. So, Alvaro, you said you're and Laura checking in from Rice. Well, I mean, there's Rice is getting ready to calm down. Things are getting ready to kind of relax in the Rice area. Not seeing anything too terribly intense there, as everything's pretty much moved east and south of you. So, James, you're asking about Georgetown. That's a bit far south. We cover north central Texas between Dallas and Waco. So that's primarily the area that we cover here. Jill, you're asking about Ennis. I mean, there may be some rain in Ennis yet to go tonight, but no more severe weather. I don't think we're going to be dealing with that. Yeah, I think Ennis is done with the heavier stuff, and it's gonna start clearing out fairly soon there. So, yeah, Ennis. I mean, you have some rain left, and you see all that rain from Cleburne down to Hamilton. I think we'll see some more rain move in overnight, but really, I mean, we're pretty much done. I mean, at this point, I don't see any kind of hail threat. There might be some hail there right near headed towards Streetman, just west of there. Maybe some rain, maybe some small hail between Angus and Richland there, but really the meat of the bulk of the activity is going to be south of Corsicana, down where that severe thunderstorm watch was issued. So yeah, Ennis, I don't think Ennis sees anything else, at least not anything significant tonight. Just some passing rain as all of this moves through. No, that's not what I want. And as we look forward here, we look at the winds. We're still looking at this, south of this area, this gust front come together. So not seeing anything that has me concerned about our area. Everything is south of us. So yeah, I mean, we're looking at conditions being greatly improved. More lightning and thunder and heavy rain for parts of Navarro County, but everything is pretty well calmed down there as well. And then the rest of our area is just kind of waiting to clear out. And that will happen later tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up live coverage. Hopefully get an early start on resting tonight. I've got a full week ahead of me. So hopefully, I can get ahead of some more things. But, let's see. Okay, yeah, that's going to be south of us too. So So yeah, thank you so much for sticking with us. And let's see, Trisha, you're asking about Sumter. We don't cover Sumter, Texas. That's a little outside of our coverage area. We're between Dallas and Waco here. So thank you so much for tuning in. After this moves through, we should be done. If anything crazy happens, I'll let you know. But otherwise, we should be good to go for tonight as far as the severe weather. A little more rain to fall. Flood watch goes until 7 a.m. unless we're canceled early, which we may very well be. But stay tuned to South Metro Weather. We'll have more on the weather for the coming week over the next. I think I'm going to try to post a quick 7-day forecast peak this evening, and then we'll go forward from there. So thank you so much for tuning in. More to come from South Metro Weather in the